He who hesitates is lost. I want to share a little bit on probably the number one factor that keeps us from being successful in any endeavor, anything we do. I know I'm personally guilty as this. Like in most things I create content for, I'm kind of preaching to myself as much as everybody else. Um, but we have these moments, right? This moment of inspiration. Maybe we're listening to someone speak, or we're in a moment, we're journaling, we're having a quiet time, something's happening, and we have this like boom, like yes, like this is what I'm supposed to do. It like hits us in the spirit, like, oh, I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. I know that this is what I'm supposed to go after. And we get all fired up, and maybe we create some plans, we have some ideas, things like that. And then what happens? It fades, and it usually fades because we delay. It fades because we delay in the pursuit of what it was. And it could be for anything, right? It could be starting a business, could be starting a ministry, could be starting a workout plan, get inspired about getting better shape, or being a better, husband, better wife, whatever the case may be. Like it's this thing that we know is closer to who we're supposed to be, our better self. And we get fired up in the moment, and then we delay, and then that fire that we had, it goes away. It just kind of it quenches, right? Quenches the fire, and then we're like, that was a stupid idea. It's all this stuff, right? So the real, I believe, trick to this is that in the moment of inspiration, that we do something that creates momentum, and it doesn't have to be grand, right? Say, hey, start a business. Like, how much is involved in that? Well, it's not saying that like you immediately quit your job and then do this or do that, but you can make progress. You can move forward in that. So any kind of forward motion is going to create momentum, right? It's the law of inertia. Things that stay in motion tend to stay in motion. Things that are in motion tend to stay in motion. Things that, are stopped tend to be stopped. And so if life, if the Lord, if whatever gave us that fire, that inspiration to move, we got to leverage those moments and to move forward. So what I want to talk about are some of the reasons that we use to convince ourselves, the reasons or maybe excuses that we use to not move forward on the things that we know we need to do, right? Whether it's, again, a momentary inspiration, or it's just that thing that that you're supposed to be doing it. You've been thinking about it forever. It's been that business idea. It's been that thing. It's been on your resolution list for the last 10 years. You need to do it. You need to do it. You need to do it. And you don't do it. So we got to create some momentum. Okay. So what is the number one? I don't know if these are in order or not, but the number one thing that keeps us from moving forward, that creates hesitation, well, it's got to be the fear of failure, right? What if this doesn't work out? Like that's the number one lie that comes in our mind immediately, is this great idea and it's big. And that's the thing, is your best self, it's big. It's really big. Like what you're called to do is huge. And so you can get so like freaked out because you can be like, there's no way that I could do that, right? Well, it's like, well, it's true. You know what? Your current self can't do that. The person you are today can't do that. But just like with every great story that we ever watch, the hero becomes more in order to overcome more. But guess what? You can't become more unless you go on the journey. All right? I'm always make illustrations of Lord of the Rings. If you're Frodo and you just stay at home, you don't ever become more enough. But as in the process of stepping out, it's like there's something that happens. It's like the winds of heaven align, and there's the right people, and this happens, and support, and we grow and become more, and then we're able to overcome that obstacle. And then guess what? It never stops. It never stops. You keep pushing forward. You keep wanting more. You keep having aspiration for more of what you've been called to do. And there's this divine support that lifts you up, that gives you the grace, that you grow and you step into who you need to be. So yes, the grand, glorious call for your life, the current you can't do. The one you can't do it alone, right? If God has a divine call over your life, it's co-laboring with him that's going to get it. But again, if you decide to sit on the couch, then the Lord's not going to come alongside you and support you, right? It's like you got to move, you got to go forward. So fear of failure and that lie that says, what if it doesn't work out? Obviously, your reputation finances, all these different things that you feel like you could waste or things could happen, start popping in your mind. You gotta stop the fear. You gotta be more afraid of not becoming all that you're called to be than you are of it not working. And so who cares? If you fall forward, keep progressing, keep moving forward. So don't listen to the fear of failure. The second thing is perfectionism. And I've definitely fallen into this before, especially making content, right? Making videos and stuff. I'll have like a technology perfectionism issue. Be like, well, my camera's not good enough, or the lighting's not good enough, or the microphone. So you always want to like get better tech because you think it's going to make you better. And all of this is an excuse. You're just making an excuse. Now, you shouldn't make crap. And, but today, I mean, with an iPhone and like standing in the right place, the sun shining on you and a decent microphone, like you're in business, you're good to go. But whatever it is, that perfectionism of like either I'm not good enough or this isn't good enough or whatever. And besides, most endeavors, when you first going, you're not being exposed to like millions of people right off the bat, right? So just do it. Just do it. Just publish it. Just make it. Just make the content, start the thing, give a sales pitch, pick up the phone, make the call, do whatever it is. And guess what? It's going to suck at first. Who cares? You're not going to get better. You're not going to get better until you start to do it. So don't worry about like perfectionism. That's a lie. Because no matter what, no matter how great that you get at a certain thing, you're still not going to feel like it's good enough. That's the problem with perfectionism. It's always moving target. You're never good enough. And all of these lies kind of revolve around that idea. You're not good enough to do it, right? And it's like, well, forget you. I don't care if I'm good enough. I'm going to move forward and I'm going to step into who I need to be to do everything. So don't let the lie of perfectionism stop you from moving forward. Number 3, lack of clarity. Lack of clarity. And this is, this kind of goes along with perfectionism a little bit, but it's like, rather than being like, oh, I have to have everything perfect and everything aligned, it's, I need to know exactly what I'm going to do, right? Like this step happens and then that's going to happen. Then I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that. And you want this long list of exactly what to do. But here's the thing, it's you're not going to know what to do down the road until you get a couple steps, right? It's like, I love the Bible verse that says the word is a lamp unto our feet, right? It's not a spotlight that shines the whole journey that you can see it. No, it's a lamp to your feet. Why? It's just so you can take a couple steps forward. Take a step of obedience. Take another step of obedience. Take another step of obedience, and just keep moving forward. And the plan will align. And here's the thing: even if you had the most amazing plan ever, and you feel like from A to Z to get this whole crazy thing that I know I'm called to get done, I have the whole thing. There's no way that this thing's going to work out exactly how you called it to be or how you laid it out. It's not going to happen that way. It doesn't work that way, right? You're going to have to pivot. You're going to learn, well, this didn't work or that happened or this thing. You're going to be led by the Spirit. You're going to move, but you got to move, right? So even if you think about it from a business standpoint, every great business that you see today, they are radically different than what they thought they were when they started. They just are, because businesses pivot and they change and they create for huge businesses. I mean, Amazon was an online bookstore at first. You look at from every business, Google and, all these, there's some businesses that made gigantic shifts and changes. Why? Because you start, you get a product, you bring it to the marketplace, and then people respond. Some people like this, some people don't like that. You shift this, you shift that. The market changes, technology changes, everything changes. And if you're totally set on this has to be completely clear, I need to know exactly what I'm doing, you won't do it. So don't let lack of clarity be a hindrance to moving forward. Number 4, fear of criticism or rejection. And the lie here is, what will people think, right? And that's the fear of man is one of the greatest fears to limit you to becoming all that you're called to be. I mean, and that's the thing. And guess what? Whatever you do, especially if it's successful, you will have haters, period. Like, that you're actually somewhat successful in somewhere where you start to get some haterade. Like, it's just the way it is. It's the human nature. Some people like to tear down, other people's things. I always, I kind of talk about like the success in life is kind of about like understanding what river you're supposed to be in, right? There's a flow. there's a flow, and there's a river. And the nice thing about a river is it's got a current, it's got a flow, right? And so part of what we're, kind of figuring out in life is like, okay, what was I divinely called to do? What are my talents, my desires? What is it the Lord wants me to achieve? All these different things, right? And I kind of get in my canoe and I get in my river and I'm going. And there's a current and there's a flow. And yes, I got to work and I got to paddle. And then once in a while, the grace of heaven, the wind of heaven blows on it. And I set my sail and I'm flying forward. And that's where we're trying to get to. We get in trouble when we try to get in someone else's river. We get in trouble when we just look around and it's like, well, what's this person doing? I want to be just like them. And we try to copy their message, their voice, their product, their whatever, right? We're just an echo of whatever that person is. And well, there's no grace on that because that's not your river, right? So a big part of success is understanding that river. Now, why did I say all that? Well, because there's some people that believe that their job in life is to pee in other people's rivers. They do. They look at the flow and the grace and the river of what you're doing, and they got to tell you why it's wrong, and this isn't happening, and this isn't that, and this, dude. Don't worry about that. Worry about what you're called to do. You get in, and you got to ignore the haters. And it's going to be tough because sometimes the people closest to you are going to be the ones that you're going to feel that criticism or rejection. Sometimes the people that you expect to be your biggest supporters could be a spouse, could be a family member, could be a close friend. You start sharing ideas of what you feel like you're called to do, and all of a sudden you're getting resistance, you're getting rejection, criticism. Not to say we don't get advice from mentors, but you'll know when there's people that are kind of supporting us and getting us to think about things that we didn't think about before. And then there's others that out of their own fear and insecurity are trying to hold you back. And that's what we got to watch out for. And again, people who love you, sometimes the reason they do it is they're just afraid. They're afraid that you're leaving them. I've dealt with that a little bit. They feel like, you're getting out ahead of them and they might feel like they're losing you depending on, where you're going, what you're doing, and what could happen. And we've got to make sure that our decision making is not based off of the criticism of other people. And if you can't face criticism from other people, then you're definitely not going to be able to get to where you need to go. So you've got to kill that fear, man. You got to kill that rejection as fast as possible, and don't let that move forward. Don't let it stop you from moving forward. You got to press on. You got to press on without worrying about the judgment of what other people think. All right, number 5, procrastination disguised as planning. So this is a lot like the perfectionism, right? This is a lot like the lack of clarity as well, but it's very specifically where we lie to ourselves that preparing research, doing our due diligence is moving forward. It's actually a lie because it's procrastination. It's disguised as planning. We're not actually making forward progress because we're afraid. And then instead of just feeling like we're not, so we're just like, oh, I'm just going to do research. I'm going to read 4 books and I'm going to watch 5 people's competitors who do this and do that. And, reading books and understanding competitive landscape, that's good. But when you're just not doing it, you're not actually making the video, you're not making the phone call, you're not putting yourself out there, you're not trying, and you're doing it out of fear. And so it just becomes procrastination, and it's wrapped up in planning. And we have to have a bias for action. We do. Got to have a bias for action. Planning, having a plan, doing what you want to do, good stuff, spend some time on it, but have a bias for action. Move forward. Keep moving. Over research, over reading, that's again just saying like, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough. It's just another mask to that whole thing. All right, number 6, the 6th reason why we hesitate in moving forward in the things we know we need to do. Lack of confidence. And this is, again, could be wrapped up in like fear, man, those kind of things. But you don't believe that you have the experience. You don't believe you have enough, right? This is where you'll start talking about like the imposter syndrome, right? Where you're like, I don't have what it takes to get there. I think the easiest thing to do to help you with this concept is to just agree with it. Say, you know what? I actually am not experienced enough to do it. I'm actually not good enough to do it. But how do you get experience? How do you become good enough to do it? Well, you actually have to learn. And what's the best way to learn than try? You got to move forward. There's no greater experience than putting yourself out there, getting feedback and learning. And guess what? You do it wrong a couple of times. Now you got experience. You know what? I shouldn't say that when I make that phone call. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do that. Guess what? You've earned experience. You've earned it. And you're not going to get it. You can get education, you get some wisdom, things like that, talking to people, this and that, but you won't get experience until you do it. The literal definition of experience is that you've experienced it. You've gone through it. You've done it. That experience is a great master, a great teacher to teach you good experience. So you have to push forward. So it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not good enough yet. Oh, well, I'm going to make as many phone calls as I need to until I am good enough. Until I do have confidence. I'm going to make enough videos. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to go and do the hard things to learn what I need to learn to get where I need to go. So if you feel like you have lack of confidence, you feel like you're not good enough, then say, great. Then I got there's no better thing I can do than actually act, because acting will give me the experience that I need. All right, number 7, overthinking every decision. So what if I choose the wrong path, right? So this is, again, kind of tied, excuse me, in with planning and lack of clarity. But when it's a paralysis by analysis is the phrase that they do, right? Like where you're constantly expecting the things that you do to go wrong. You're constantly expecting every decision you make where it's going to be right or wrong. Like, listen to this. Again, if success is actually just knowing the right things to do, right? Having positive experience. And then we just talked about where the way that you get the wisdom to know what the right thing to do is oftentimes by doing the wrong thing. Then why freak out about like, well, should I go here? Should I go do this? It's like, pray, pick one, do it, and then learn. And you're like, that didn't work. Okay, great. Now I know. Now I know that that's the wrong road. I'm not going to go down that road no more. I'm going to go down this road. I'm going to do it this way, right? So rather than getting yourself completely disabled by decision making, and that's a real, I've had it where you're disabled. You're like, I don't even know what to do, or, like I can't move forward until I have this thing. It's like, no. We got to be resourceful. And we got to just figure out how to push in, how to just do it. If I did it wrong, oh well. Again, if you're going to fall, just fall forward, fall closer to your goal. Well, I learned. Now I'm going to go here. Now I'm going to do this. Okay? So, be careful that you're not overthinking every decision. All right, comfort zone dependency, number 8. So, comfort zone dependency. So this, again, is kind of, again, I always use Lord of the Rings. If you never watched Lord of the Rings, then you're going to miss a lot of my analogies. But the whole idea of Lord of the Rings, and if you haven't watched it, watch it, but don't watch it for like the action. Think about like the story. It's amazing. It's an absolutely amazing story. Read the books. It's even better than watching the movie. The movie's kind of lame compared to the books. Anyway, the whole idea is there's a place called the Shire. And everything is just kind of like comfortable and quaint, and you got everything that you need, and you're comfortable, and there's no big deal. In the original, in The Hobbit, Gandalf comes and asks if anybody's looking for an adventure. The character Bilbo Baggins is like, adventure, like, oh my gosh, like what a horrible thing. Like in this culture, the idea of going on an adventure is like an evil word, because it takes you out of your comfort zone. It's like, no, we do everything we can to have the easiest, most comfortable, things aren't hard life at all. And, in America, we've kind of created that same thing. Everything is super easy. I can call Amazon, I can call Grubhub, I can get what I want. I can do this, I can do that. And, really one of the biggest risks to not having this amazing world-changing life that we've been called to see this grand, glorious call, that this amazing thing that we get to be a part of. The number one like threat that we have to seeing that is comfort. Is to being like, I'm just too comfortable. I'm just comfortable, and I'd rather stay comfortable, and I don't want to do anything that's too hard, and I'd rather just do the least amount of work that I can, come home, crack a beer, watch the game, la la la. And like years just go by. And you gave your years to like football and just trivial things. And one day you look back and you're like, what did I do with this thing called life? Like I had this opportunity to see things and experience and serve people and solve problems and grow and expand and do all these awesome things. And instead I spent it, like I wasted my life on these trivial pursuits just to keep myself comfortable and numb. And that was it. That was your existence. And man, that scares the crap out of me. And it's so easy. It's so easy. It's so everywhere. We've got to constantly fight against the pursuit of comfort. Like you were made for a reason. I was made for a reason. There's a grand, glorious purpose for our lives. There's something beautiful that we could step into, that we could become. And that threat. Now thinking of that song by Pink Floyd, I have become comfortably numb. Where I'm so comfortable that I'm just like numb. I'm numb to the world. I'm not compassionate to people. I'm not motivated by things. I've numbed myself to the point that I just have this comfortable, lackluster existence. Someday my faculties will fail me and I'll just sit in front of the TV and I'll die. And that'll be my life. We have to fight against that. You, yes, you have a grand, glorious call. There is a purpose, a fulfillment, a joy. And in that road to get there will be filled with discomfort. It'll be hard things. Actually, the people that do the hardest things, there's so much science. You could look at Andrew Huberman. I'm losing names right now. All these different people have done all these studies that talk about like happiness, like a true state of happiness and joy in oneself is actually tied to the ability to overcome and do hard things. And so we got to do that for ourselves. We got to do that for our kids, like to overcome, to figure it out, to have a problem, to succeed, to grow, to challenge ourselves. I mean, you even think about our physical bodies. Your physical body, the fitness, the muscles, the strength, the vitality, the energy levels is all based on your ability to overcome resistance, discomfort. Like you want your muscles to grow, you have to cause discomfort. You have to actually tear them. You press against things and you tear them. And it's the same thing. Like what if, the problems of life, whether they're emotional, spiritual, physical, it's resistance. You're considered strong when you can press against resistance. The amount of resistance that you press against is actually the measurement of how strong you are. So we need to be strong and full of, just vigor and vitality and so what are we going to do? You got to press into hard things. Press into hard things. Don't let the comfort zone steal the great, awesome life that I have an opportunity to live. Number 9, financial concerns. Well, I don't have enough money. That's always going to be a concern. I mean, I don't think no matter how big your business gets or your ministry gets or your whatever gets or whatever you're doing, like there's always going to be a gap of like, I need to believe for this much money to go and achieve that thing. Right? Like like all of a sudden your business starts growing. I need a bigger building. I need to put more employees. I need to hire. There's always going to be that gap of being like, I don't have enough money. Now, one, like, not having enough money is a legitimate thing. Like we should measure cash flow, budgets, things like that. So one, there's always something that you can do that's not financially related to get going. Like we got to be resourceful. You can always just pick up the phone and make a dial. You can always walk into someone's office. You can always go shake a hand. You can always go turn on your camera, your phone and record a video. Like there's plenty of things that you can do that are not financially related. But then 2, we have to realize that the gap between the resources I have now and the resources I need, that's always going to be there. And so I have to have faith and I have to move forward to go and achieve those things. Now, again, be smart with your money, like don't 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 go get a lease for something that you can't afford. Like, you got to be smart with your money, but then go and make it happen. Like, have faith. Put faith out. Be like, okay, well, I need this amount of money. You know what? I'm going to go make 200 phone calls a day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to press in. I'm going to get creative about the ways to create money. Listen, like, you pressing in and on this journey, you're going to get more and more creative in ways to create funds. And the fortune's attracted to boldness. Fortune's attracted to people that are out there making it happen. And so the more that you're pressing in, the more you're making it happen, the more people you're connecting with, the more idea you're sharing your ideas and all this other stuff, like, the funds are going to come in. And then, and just give, and this is just a biblical principle of sowing and reaping, right? So, like, whatever a man sows, that shall he reap. And if you don't have money right now, you're really lacked on money, then give your services. Find a charity, find a ministry, find somebody, go pour out something of value. Put seed in the ground. Put seed in the ground, because that seed shall reap a harvest. And always be generous. The more generous you are, the more it's going to come back. If you have a closed fist, money can't go out, but money also can't come in. When you have an open hand, and you're generous, you pay people well, you're like, you take care of your family, you do things, and you have an open hand, money comes back in. So don't let money stop you. Number 10, waiting for permission. And this is kind of big in for people who are employed. Because like our whole society through the school systems and employment kind of teaches you to ask for permission, wait for your promotion. When I get promoted and and I get this or I get that opportunity and that door opens. The Bible even says, what doors open? Doors that get knocked on. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. Don't just stand around waiting like, I'm waiting for permission and the door opens. Like, no, knock on the door. Ask, seek, and then knock, and then the door opens. So it's a lie to just sit there to be like, well, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to sit back and, even when you're waiting on the Lord, even that word waiting, if you look in the Hebrew of it, it's like waiting with expectation. Like, I expect, and you're doing things in the meantime. I'm going to keep pressing in, and then I'm going to expect a return. All right. I heard my pastor say this last week. You pray like it's all on the Lord. You pray like it's all up to God to open every door, and then you work like it's all up to you. So you press in, you make it happen, you act, move forward, knock on the doors. If you even think about ask, seek, knock. Ask is like prayer. Seek is like, like information, education, growing, learning. And then knock is a physical action. You gotta have a physical action. Go out there and do it. Make it happen. All right. Number 11. The 11 excuse that we have to hesitate. And this one's a little deeper. Fear of success. It's kind of a lot like fear of failure, but then there are some of us that'll be like, well, what if this works and I'll have to hire employees, and then like I'll have to get a business, and what if there's too many orders and I don't know how to do the thing, or like what if so many people show up and I don't have the stuff? And that's still fear. It's just fear. Fear is a liar. Fear is stopping you from having everything that you're supposed to have in life. So you are going to figure it out. You're going to figure it out. So you got to realize your success. This is another thing. Some people almost like attach success and like money and things like that to being like, oh, well, I don't want to be those kind of people. And, what will people think about me if I have a nice car or if I have too much money? And, that's that spirit of religion. That's that just, you need to be super successful, because that's how you're going to help as many people, right? If like your business is ethical, then it's about serving people and solving problems. Well, guess what? When you make lots of money, that's showing you that you're serving lots of people and you're solving lots of problems and you're being compensated for as you should, right? If you're not successful, that means that you're not really helping people. And that goes back to our confidence. You got to believe that what you're doing is really helping people, that what you're doing is worth it. Like this initiative, this endeavor, even me, like I know I've been talking about business, ministry and stuff, but even things like weight loss. I was like, oh, what if I lose a lot of weight and I get in a lot of shape? Like, what will people think about me? Will they judge me, or will they be mad at me because people think that like, well, if I look good, then like, am I going to be judged this and that? It's like, no, listen, like if you're healthier and you're in better shape, now you're going to live longer. You're going to have more vitality. You're going to be able to be an example for other people to step out. Like go be the best that you can be. Don't be a jerk, right? You don't have to turn into some jerk because you have lots of money. You don't have to be that, right? Use your resources, your experience, everything you're getting to serve people and to solve problems and to be a value to the world, to tell people about Jesus. Like use everything that you're getting, you get to give. Think about that. You get to give. You get to give. But the reason you get is so you can give. And then the more you give, the more you get. And the more you give, the more you get. So go and get it. Get the resources, get the finances, get the grace, get the peace, get the joy, get the house, get the boat, get the whatever. Go and get it so you have something to give. Get it because you need to give. And the only way you're going to get it is if you move. You move. You move. You can't hesitate. Don't let that moment that we talked about at the beginning pass you by. Don't let that moment when you're in the church service or you're listening to the audio book or you get that and you get it and you're like, yes, that's it. That's it. It touches my spirit. I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. Don't let that moment pass. Press in, create momentum, move forward. Okay. And so one of the things that's going to help you overcoming hesitation and helping you create momentum is just understanding that just make forward progress. Don't get so overwhelmed with all the stuff that you could do. Just move forward. Like move forward step by step, bit by bit. Do something, and do it regularly. You know, one thing that we teach in our goal setting workshop, and you know, we got it like the goal setting thing and all the stuff. It's like goals are great, but if a goal doesn't have an action plan, it's really just like a wish. Like really, like, you know, and you set your New Year's resolution, or I want to make $1 million, or I want to do whatever. And then you don't have like a plan of being like, okay, within the next year, I'm going to do this. Within the next quarter, I'm going to do this. The next month, I'm going to do this. The next week, I'm going to do this. And then something that I think is a real like hack to make this happen is, what daily disciplines do I need to have in order to achieve that? What kind of, because we got to create habits and we got to create routine that are getting us positively. Because trust me, you've got plenty of habits. I do. Plenty of routines that hold us back. So what things do I need to do daily? I'll make 10 phone calls a day. I'm going to record 1 video a day. I'm going to post on social once a day. I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to drink a gallon of water every day. And you create a daily thing, and then give yourself a challenge. Give yourself a challenge. Say over the next 30, the next 60, the next 75 days, I'm going to press in and I'm going to do these simple things every single day. Every single day. Every single day. You're making forward momentum daily. And if you can get somebody in your life to do it with you, even better, because now you have accountability, right? Mark it, track it, progress, like move forward. What you're going to do is you're going to build momentum. And momentum, do not undervalue the importance of momentum. All right, because there's so many times in our lives where we feel like we're just like there's a rock in our lap and we're just held down. And it's so hard to just get up and do something. When you create that fire, make positive forward progress, keep going day after day, day after day, day after day. And then you'll see what works, what doesn't, the right flow, the right things, and you shift and you maneuver. And then all of a sudden you look back and it's only been a few months and you're like, wow, I got this far. What does that do? Gives you more confidence. Takes away fear and gives you hope. All these lies we've been talking about, all of a sudden they just start being unveiled. That's all they are. They're lies. And they start getting put away. You get more confidence and you keep pressing in, And then one day you're going to get there. Where's there? I don't know. Whatever the thing that you thought you would never be able to do, you're going to get there way quicker than you ever thought you'd get there. And then guess what? Because you're a healthy person with a huge, awesome vision for life, you're going to have something else that's even further out there. And you're like, whoa, how am I going to get there? Just like you just did. By consistent progress, overcoming the lies of the enemy, moving forward, having faith, learning, being humble, being coachable, having a bias for action, and you shall achieve what God has called you to achieve. So anyway, hope this video was helpful. God bless you. Move forward like now. Hey, Billy Robbins here. Hope you enjoyed this presentation. And hey, I just wanted to say, if you are looking to start a business, you're in business, and you feel like, man, I don't really know what to do to grow, I want to invite you to our week-long challenge. It's called How to Create a Real Marketing Strategy Challenge, because in my experience over the years, one of the reasons why businesses just don't grow is they don't have a real plan. They don't have a real strategy. They're busy following what everybody else is doing, or the latest fad, the TikTok thing, the funnel thing, the webinar stuff, the whatever. And not to say those things are wrong, but they're not based off of a true strategy, because true strategies are based off of saying the right thing to the right person at the right time. That's literally it. So your sales, your marketing, if you think about that, if you had exactly the right messaging to exactly the right person at exactly the right time in their shopping experience or in the relationship that you have with them, then conversion is going to happen, right? So that's basically on the highest level what we're going to do over this week. We're going to walk through the process to understand, what are your real goals? What are you trying to achieve? What is the unique kind of place that you fit in the market? What do you do better than everybody else? Who are the customers that are going to get the most value from what you do and be the most valuable to you in the business? And then from there, we build a map. We build a map that understands, okay, this is how I get someone to become aware that I exist. This is how I get someone to like me. And this is how I get them to buy something from me. And then this is how I get them to be a raving fan who keeps buying again and again. So I'd love to invite you to join this challenge. There is a link below. Maybe I'll flash it on the screen right here. And come join us. Check out the How to Develop a Real Marketing Strategy Challenge hosted by me. See you there.